Well, welcome everybody that's joining today. This is a live stream of the launching of my nonprofit, Angels Helping in Earth. I want to show here this brochure. This brochure is for Angels Helping in Earth. I want to read a little bit about what is this about. This nonprofit is launched today because today is Giving Tuesday. And I have been working since almost 1 year in the preparation of this nonprofit. I've been working with Pastor Willie F. Peterson. That he's going to be joining me live here next year here in Houston. So let me mention you why this is so close to my heart. This is a nonprofit that it began as a vision, an idea. One day, when I was during my captivity, during my 5 years captivity in Venezuela, I had a dream. I had a dream that I thought that it was a dream, but it was really vivid, and it was so vivid. And by that time, I was having exchange of letter with my wife. I have mentioned this several times that we begin to receive food, and in the exchange of the food, the trash cans, we begin to smuggle letters during years with my wife. And those years became what today is my book, From Hero to Billion, that you see it here. But the reason of this video is not the book, is the nonprofit. So that day after I woke up, it was so vivid, that the dream, that I decided to write down what the vision that I had. So let me mention you that maybe you will think that I'm crazy, but I swear to God that this is true. So in that dream, I had a vision like God was kind of revealing me the future. So I saw myself going to a place. It was a building. It was a building, and I saw even part of my family. I saw many members of my family working in that organization. And I saw some classrooms and people giving some classes, some courses, some seminars. And there was like a stage, like a studio where in fact it was not one, it was two studios. There were two recording sets. One was me doing interviews, and the other was my daughter. And all that installation was related to a nonprofit. That it became to be a nonprofit giving attendance to Hispanic community. For that time, I didn't have no clue why I had that dream. And honestly, I decided to write it down in a paper, and I sent it to my wife. I remember that when I sent that letter to my wife, after years that I could come back, and we began to compile the letters to become to be my book, I found that letter, and that letter had an org chart. Because even in that letter, I had put that write down the name of the nonprofit that was going to be called Angels Helping in Earth. This is the name. Makes sense because I'm Jose Angel. So for some reason, God was putting me that I had to begin to help in Earth. I never thought what was the meaning of this. But after I came back and I began to, review my life, and I began to speak and I began to write that book that it became an Amazon bestseller and won an award as the best true memoir 2025 in the International Book Award. And I began to do the podcast that today I have, but it came even further, and I became a TV host. And there where the studio began to start. Because that studio that I have today in Now Media TV, they have a weekly show called, in Spanish, Líderes Inquebrantables, Unbreakable Leaders, is I discovered because after I came back, I began to attend also my church. My church is a Hispanic church here in Houston in the Spring area called Intimidad con Dios, intimacy with God. So it began to connect all the dots because in that church, I began to reconnect with the Hispanic community. I want to be honest when I want to say here during my career and during my time that I was assigned here, and I became the CEO of Cico Petroleum, I was not so connected with the Spanish community. I was not connected, neither with the Spanish community and neither with the Venezuelan community. I'm Venezuelan born. But for some reason, I was working with pure Americans. All my employees, more than 3,000 employees, very few Hispanic people, a lot of Americans, because Citgo Petroleum is located here in Houston, but 20 years ago was in Tulsa, Oklahoma. It was transferred to here, so many people came from Tulsa. Tulsa doesn't have so big Hispanic community like Houston has. So Citgo had Hispanic employees, but not so much. So, and even though I was living here in Houston when I arrived in an area that is not, it was not a Spanish area, that is Cyprus. So I was not connected to the Spanish community, to be honest. So when I came to my church and I began to interact more with my brothers of the Spanish community, I began to understand that there was a lot of needs, because I began to attend one ministry in my church that is called the Art of Giving, TAG. And part of the Art of Giving is the food pantry. So me and my wife began to be part of the organization of the TAG. So we were in charge to collect non-perishable food, organize them, and organize the food drives. And during the Thanksgiving time, we do the turkey drive. So making that connection and knowing about the needs, it began to touch my heart. And there's where I came back to my dream I said, I need to help these people. And not only that, because during those 3 years that have been rebuilding my life back, one of the blessings that I have had is that I got connected to the hostage community. You see this flag here, this is the wrongfully hostage and wrongfully detained flag. This is our official flag here in the US. And this flag, my family, among almost 80 more families, created this flag. This was presented to the Congress, and today is our official flag here in the US. So I got really connected to those foundations. And I began to tell them, and last May, we had a big gathering in Washington called the Hostage Week. And I presented that brochure to them. I said, I'm going to begin to start this project to empower the Spanish community. So one of these foundations, I'm going to say it here very frankly, the Hostage US Foundation, blessing to them, because all of them have been a great support. But Hostage US, they have something that is very close to my heart, because they give you mental and physical support to you and to your family. So Hostage US, since day one that I came back in October 1st, 2022, I came back and stayed 10 days in a military base here in San Antonio, Texas. After I was released after 10 days, October 11, 2022. I remember when I was heading out the San Antonio installation, somebody extended me a brochure from Hostage US. Said, if you want to have mental support, contact us. And I contacted them. And since that day, I began to work with my therapist. I've been working 3 years with my therapist, Daisy Rosenbaum. I love her so much. We became friends. I had the blessing to have meeting her in person several times. She lives in Austin, but we have met also in those yearly gatherings that are done in Washington. So she not only began to heal me, help me in my healing, and I also got connected to a very good friend that he also did the prologue of my book. His name is Brian Klosner. Brian did the prologue of my book. I asked him to become my prologuist of my book, and he's the director of the WakeMed Medical Center in Raleigh, North Carolina, because I stay there too. This is a big trauma recovery center. So for me, trauma recovery was part of my life. My healing, my rebirth was part of my life. So I said, I begin to understand, and the revelation of my church, because my church, one of the blessings that I have learned in my church is that sometimes you repeat cycles in your life because there is something that is called the inequity. There is like some people call them the sins of the ancestors. So we carry some burdens from our ancestors. And this is very tight because I learned it through the healing process that I have been going with Daisy and my good friend Brian Klausner about what is called the generational traumas. So what happened with the generational traumas? You come with traumas that if you don't cut that trauma, you will transfer it to your generations. You will transfer to your kids, and you will transfer it to your grandsons, and so on and so on. So it begins to be a big issue, the generational trauma. Why I'm talking about this? Because this is one of the biggest challenges in the Hispanic community. Many of the Hispanic community that come here to the US, when they come because they're going from their country. They're running away from their country because sometimes they have had physical abuse, mental abuse, sexual abuse, abuse of the government. For example, in our case, hey, Felipe, how are you, my friend? How are you? How are you?
Can't complain. Can you hear me?
I'm doing
You
the
hear me?
live here right now.
Thank God.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you
Hear me?
good. Yeah, it's a blessing. Yeah,
Oh,
that's
let
thank
me
God.
check here what happened.
Is Pastor Javed coming too?
What about now?
Yeah, I hear you. I hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, thank God. Can you
But I
hear
cannot
me?
hear you. I cannot hear you.
Oh no, no. Let's see. Well, hold on. Let me check.
But you can hear me.
I can hear you good. Yeah. Can you hear me now? Hello, hello.
Oh, I cannot hear you.
Oh.
Well, okay.
Hello. Can you hear me now?
Maybe he has to mute later. But okay, let
Hello.
me
Can you
continue
hear me?
what I was talking. So the generational trauma becomes a big burden here. Uh, can you hear me? You hear me?
Yes, we hear you. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I was talking, Paul, about. I was giving a introduction about why this foundation is starting. Let me do a quick recap so you can understand why this event for me is important. Today, it's Giving Tuesday. I've been working with a pastor, Pastor Willie Peterson, that have been helping me organizing everything. And today we are launching like a soft launching of the nonprofit. It is becoming a fundraising process. But I was explaining to the people why I began with this project, because I was telling them that this came from a vision, a dream that I had during my years of captivities, that I had this dream. At that moment, I didn't know why that dream came to me, but after I came back and I began to get connected to my church, and I begin to see how things begin to appear, is that I discovered that I needed to put in place this project. So this project, the name, it was given during that dream. I'm Jose Angel, and the name is Angels Helping in Earth, because and I was telling how I decided to go in what this foundation is going to take care, because during the years that I came back working with my own therapists that have been helping me in my healing process for the trauma that I suffered. One of the things that I discovered is the importance of the trauma recovery in the Spanish community. I was telling the people also, Paul, that when I came here to work here in the U.S. Almost 15 years ago, I was as assignee. I didn't came like a normal immigrant. I came as an international expat of a company that came to the U.S. So my connection with the Hispanic community were not so close. To be honest, because the company that I work with, Citgo Petroleum, is a U.S.-based company. Citgo 20 years ago was located almost for 80 years in Tulsa, Oklahoma. So when they moved here to Houston, they brought all the people here. So mostly the 6,000 employees of Citgo, more than 95% are pure Americans, not too much Hispanic. So I didn't have too much interaction with the Hispanic community. When I got connected to my church, that is a Hispanic church here in Houston, is where I discovered how much needs are in our community, because I began to be part of a ministry called the Art of Giving, that is who take care of the food pantries and the distribution of non-perishable food. Many churches does it, but when you begin to interact directly with the people, and you begin to know how much need they are, is where I discovered, oh, wow, so this is where this project has to head. I was telling them that one of the things that for me has been also a big revelation, my church, our pastor, they talk a lot about that, how you repeat cycles in your life, because the inequity that we carry, because we are part of all the trauma that we carry from our ancestors. There are a lot of generational traumas, and in the Spanish community, it's a big burden, because one of the big issues that happened, and this is being a process that I've been kind of digesting. Mostly the Hispanic that come here to the U.S., and because you live in Dallas, it's same in Houston, there is a big Hispanic community. The people that come here normally come running away of their countries, because they have suffered sexual abuse, physical abuse, emotional abuse, and even abuse by their government. For example, I'm Venezuelan. All the Venezuelans, the big diaspora of Venezuela, flew their country because they needed to escape from the abuse of the government. So the people come here to the U.S. and nobody takes care of them. No, they have to continue their life. Maybe they begin to work with being a Uber or a delivery or a janitor. So it emphasizes the trauma, because now you have a person. I know many people like that today. There are professionals, engineers, lawyers, doctors that today are here janitors or driving a Uber. So now you have the trauma that you suffered coming, escaping from your country here, and that trauma that you're having to, it becomes a real issue. And that trauma, if you don't treat it, you're going to transfer it to your kids and to your grandson, and it's going to become a generational trauma. And honestly, nobody's taking care of this. When I began to work with Pastor Willie Peterson, he has more than 35 years helping nonprofit. So he knows a lot about this. And I remember that he was telling me, one of the excitement when he began to work with me, he told me, Jose, believe me, during years, this is the first time I hear somebody talking about this for the Hispanic community. So he's really exciting working with me, because he said that this can mark a difference. Because with all these issues that are happening today with the immigration here in this country, nobody's taking care of this, and people doesn't know how to channelize their if they want to help in this area. So this foundation is for that, to help for that. So one of the pillars, I'm going to talk about the pillars of the foundation, because the foundation is going to have several pillars, but one of the key pillars is going to be trauma recovery. Mm-hmm. Why? Because for those blessings of God, when I came back, I began to work with a therapist, Daisy Rosenberg. She's located in Austin, and we became really good friends. And now
she's not only my therapist, she's going to partner with me in this initiative because she is Hispanic too. She's from Colombia. She's married with an American guy in Austin, but she's born in Colombia, and she has the same feeling than me that she wants to help the Hispanic community. So we decided to, to get us together. So she's going to be helping me in that area. My lawyer, that when I came back, I had to deal with several legal issues. We became really good friends. He also is going to help me in the pro bono basis for legal assistance, and maybe he can bring some other lawyers, because this is going to be a second pillar of the foundation, that not only taking care of the trauma recovery. The trauma recovery will have several areas: seminars, one-on-one consultations, and events that to try to bring healing to the people, and that the people can have the ability and the possibility to express their own concern, because this is another big issue in the Hispanic community. One of the big issues because this is a cultural issue, people don't talk about this. In the Spanish community, it's very uncommon. People say that, hey, I have a trauma, I suffer this. The people hide their feelings. And if you're a man, it's even worse. In my country, I remember there was a saying that if you were going to a therapist, it's because you're crazy. The people think that going to a therapist is because you're crazy. So nobody wants to say that they're going to a therapist. We want to change that narrative. We want to change that narrative, and then, so that people can say, hey, I need help. I need help, and this is going to be helping here for you. So there are going to be several things that are going to be in that area. In the area of legal support, I want to basically do 2 or 3 activities. The first is immigration support. People sometimes doesn't know how to handle their case because they don't have legal support. It's expensive. So having some lawyers that can have pro bono basis legal support is going to be one of the things. People sometimes want to begin their life, and they want to start a small business. I don't know, a small place to sell empanadas or tamales, whatever, but you need legal support. That will be also a part of the support for the startups, and many other minor legal support. But basically, that's going to be the two main areas in the legal side. We want to also give logistical support. I have been having conversation with other foundations here in the Houston area. For example, there is one called the Hope Center. I became friend of the guy of the Hope Center. They're very heavy in the food distribution. I have a friend also that is in that area, so I'm going to partner with them by the way, we are friends of the same church. So we're going to be partnering in that area. That I don't want to compete in that area. I want to partner with them in that area. And the other thing is going to be seminars, leadership. English is a second language. Citizenship. One of the big things that I see here is that people, it's very common that you see people that have 40 years living here in the US and don't speak English and don't embrace the culture. And again, if you decided to make this your country, you have to embrace your culture. You have to, this is your country. You need to embrace the culture. You need to love your country. So and you have to know all the history of this country. So part of one of the big things that I really believe that this foundation will do is that integrate the Hispanic more to the American society. Because if I don't get it that you go to some areas where not only that people don't speak English, they're like if they were living in their own country. So I don't say that you have to hide your culture, because you have your heritage. I'm Hispanic. I'm probably Venezuelan. I have I love my ayacas and all the stuff, but I praise this country. So this is something that we want to emphasize too. So and the fourth pillar is going to be collaborations. Collaboration. We want to begin to partner. I know that it's a challenge starting this, but I really believe that this is something that God is going to provide us the support, because we're really doing it with our heart. So this foundation, this is the logo of the foundation, Angels Helping in Earth. I'm gonna in my webpage. I'm gonna put up this brochure, because what I have mentioned today is basically the pillars. So the way we want to do this is that today we're starting the fundraising. We're gonna be doing it for the rest of the year, and when we close the year, we're planning to do a launching, a physical launching here in Houston next year, maybe January or February. So we're planning to invite people that have been, we want to invite you too, Pastor. So we want to invite people that have been part of this journey. I want to invite the foundations on Washington that they have been supporting in my journey, because they have gone through this path. For example, I want to mention here, there is a foundation called the James Foley Legacy Foundation that is big. It's the biggest foundation here in the U.S. for the hostage community. And Miss Diane Foley started that foundation after her kid, her son, he was a journalist. He was kidnapped in Syria. He stayed 12 years kidnapped in Syria. And after years, because they didn't pay the ransom, ISIS beheaded him in national TV. He was beheaded in national TV. And by that time, Miss Foley was a nurse. And she decided to transform her pain in what is today her foundation. And it's a beauty. It's a beauty what she has done with that foundation. Every year when she does the yearly gala in Washington, that became like the who is who in that area. It showed up people, congressmen, businessmen, ambassadors. It's really a big event. And every time I go, I have gone 3 years in a row after I came back. Every time I had the opportunity to go, and I had the opportunity to talk with her, I always mention, you are an inspiration. You are my mother. This is the way I want to see my foundation in the future, because she had created a movement. So I want to do this foundation in the same way. Our different path, because she's taking care of the hostage community. I'm going to take care of the Hispanic community. But at the same thing, it's the same vision. Doing this to make a big cause. I'm going to start baby step here in the Houston area, but the idea is that this become a national movement. So I want this to become a national movement now. I remember, it's going to be funny saying this. The other day I was, I received this brochure and I was folding it. I was here in that desk folding it. And my grandson came with my son. And he saw me and he came to see what I was doing. And he said, Abuelo, what are you doing? And I said, no, Papi, I'm folding this brochure that I was going to an event and I was gonna give it. And then he what is that? And I explained to him, Papi, this is the foundation of your abuelo, And I explained what the foundation was gonna be. My grandson has 12 years. And when I was talking with him, I said, Papi, this foundation you're gonna handle in 30 years. You're gonna be the president of this foundation. I was kind of joking with him, but he took it seriously. And he got was like a big compromise. And he began to cry. And he began to cry. I had to hug him. So he took that compromise very serious. And I understood in that moment that this is the legacy. This is the really important of the legacy. So when you do the things with that compromise, is when you're going to leave a legacy. And Pastor, I really believe, and I strongly believe and praise to God that God will give me you know the blessing to
Amen.
my legacy.
That's
So
right. God bless you.
this was going to be the intention of this meeting. I wanted to put that today we're starting this. What is the vision behind? I'm going to read a little bit about what the brochure says. So there's strategic values. We offer the non-partisan. This is important. This is a non-political, because when we started this, Pastor, was funny because we started this before this new government. We never thought all these immigration issues that were going to pop up. We started this more than 1 year ago. So when all this big issue with the immigration came up, I was having kind of challenge, because I said, I don't know if this is going to be good in this moment. And maybe I didn't know if it was going to get approved. But it got approved. So it got approved because this is something that we really believe that this can help. Instead of be a opposition, it's a help. It's a way to help, because we believe that as far as you integrate the Hispanic to this society, to contribute more to this society, to be part of this society, this will make them, a better place for them and for the country. So it's going to be a win-win situation. So being a non-partisan for me is key. So we want to position this like a true partner in the community. We really believe in partnership. We ambition having the possibility to work with the mayor of the city, for example, or even with the government, being like a voice, a channel to be heard by the government. Because we want to advocate to the legal path of the integration of the people as a citizen and with dignity. And we want to have, as I said, not only the advocacy in the future, even a government collaboration. We want to have an immigration supporting in all the process. As we mentioned, the education is going to be very key in all this, and of course, the trauma recovery. So, all these elements, we're going to be developing step by step. Our first thing we want to do is have the building, the offices. Once we have the office, maybe we have to have a small staff and have some collaboration, some people that want to be part of the pro bono basis with us, and let's see how this goes. So this is
a blessing. Yes, and it's a blessing. Well, thank you so much for sharing, Pastor. It's wonderful to hear this.
I cannot hear you, Pastor. I don't know why.
I'm so sorry.
Hear you.
I don't know, but God willing, the only thing is I have to go because I have another meeting. I have a.
No, I know. I was finishing, and thank you for being here.
Yeah,
Thank you for
but
being.
God bless you.
It's a
It's so
blessing.
good to
It's
see
a
you.
blessing. Blessing.
Okay,
Thank
God bless you.
Thank you.
Okay,
well, we're gonna come into the end. I hope you enjoy this. Please be connected, collaborate with it, and we're gonna leave the link to the webpage in the recording. Thank you, Pastor.
Okay, God bless.
Have a blessed day.